In our communities here in Northern Ireland, human trafficking, modern day slavery is happening. We know that slavery was abolished, but it certainly hasn't been eradicated. And the Home Office only last year produced figures of 10 to 13,000 people in slavery across the UK. 4 key areas they identified, and putting aside the sexual exploitation, they talked about fields, factories and fishing. And that's exactly the industries that we're seeing here in Northern Ireland.
I was born and raised in Poland. There was very little work where I lived. I was brought to Northern Ireland by another Polish person who promised me work as a builder. The trafficker paid for my transport to Northern Ireland. I had to pay the money back with interest, so I was in debt to the trafficker from the start. I was not given any work for 2 months, and then it was not the work he promised me. I was forced to pack salads at the factory. He took my ID away from me when I arrived in Northern Ireland and only gave it back to me because the trafficker wanted me to open a bank account. When I opened the account, he took my money out and kept for himself.
I mean, in terms of human trafficking, it's quite a unique crime in that it's a human rights-based crime. Most of the victims that we're supporting have systematically been subjected to inhuman, degrading treatment, held in slave-like conditions, denied their family life, freedom of expression.
The trafficker also forced me to buy a mobile phone, which was taken away from me straight away. I was ordered by the trafficker to have all of my letters sent to his address and not to the house I was living in. For no reason, I was assaulted by him. He gave me a black eye. I was entirely dependent on him for accommodation, food, and later employment. The house where I lived also housed 6 other people in the same situation as me. It was very overcrowded, very dirty, and unsafe. I was not alone. There were people from many other countries in the same situation. We had come to Northern Ireland legally, hoping to work and contribute to society, but ended up living like slaves. I was lucky I managed to escape.
2015, 53 victims of human trafficking were identified or provisionally identified. 31 of those victims were victims of labour exploitation. So it's really the lion's share of human trafficking here are people who have been, suffered horrendous conditions.
And I think people are living in communities where there is this form of forced labour who have no awareness that somewhere on their doorstep close to where they live or perhaps work, you've got people who are in a forced labour situation. You can have people in forced labour working alongside people who are working and not being coerced and don't realise that their colleagues are being grossly exploited. So there is certainly an issue of kind of awareness. This is a hidden issue.